Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, our Learn with Google webinar, Managing Large AdWords Campaigns with Less Effort. My name is Katie Miller. I'm a Product Marketing Manager here at Google for AdWords Editor, and I'll be presenting today along with Drew Trong, the Product Marketing Manager for Automated Rules, and Steve Barrett, an Account Manager on the B2B Markets team. Before we get started, I wanted to quickly cover a few housekeeping items for all of you. First, be sure to submit questions throughout the presentation, including any technical issues you may be experiencing. And you can do this using the Q&A widget on the left-hand side of the console. If the questions are specific to something being discussed at that point in the webinar, we'll be sure to share the questions with all of you at that time. Otherwise, we'll have some specific time right at the end of the presentation to go through all of your questions. Second, you'll also see that there is a Twitter gadget. Feel free to tweet about the webinar and with other participants throughout the event using the hashtag at the #GoogleWebinar. Next, the webinar will be recorded and a link will be sent to you after the event. Finally, as a reminder, we wanted to make sure that you've turned off any pop-up blockers just to make sure that you're not experiencing any viewing issues. And with that, we're going to get started with today's event. Again, I am Katie Miller, and I'm very excited to be presenting to you today. First, just a quick technical issue there. There we are. Wanted to get to the agenda slide for all of you. And here's a quick look at what we'll be covering today. First, we'll walk through the goals of the presentation and do a quick overview of the two products that we'll be focusing on, AdWords Editor and Automated Rules. Next, we'll walk through specific ways that you can efficiently scale an account and automatically launch and manage campaigns using Advertiser Bob as an example client. Finally, we have time at the end to answer any specific questions that you may have on the tools or on the tactics that we've covered. Now, here's a little bit about what we hope to cover today, as well as a quick product refresh. To manage large or multiple accounts takes time, which is often in short supply. I think we can all identify instances in which we've had big ideas and creative solutions, yet have been limited in implementing them because all of the time is spent setting up campaigns, adjusting bids, pausing and enabling ads, running reports, and manually making changes to reflect performance. It's not efficient and it's not much fun. But after today, we hope you will learn some ways that you can make these repetitive account changes at scale or automatically, and that you can do so using Google Solutions, enabling you to operate more efficiently as your business grows. And now for a quick product refresher. The demo today is targeted towards advertisers and agencies who do have a basic familiarity with AdWords Editor and Automated Rules. But to set the stage for the demo, we wanted to quickly review the primary functions of each of these tools. If you're looking to do a large account build or optimization, AdWords Editor is your tool. With AdWords Editor, you can add, edit, and delete campaigns, ad groups, ads, keywords, and placements in bulk. It does give you the ability to manage multiple accounts or My Client Center accounts. You can perform advanced searches and edits, import and export data using CSV and Excel files, and you can work offline on a Mac or a PC and then upload the changes when you're online. If you're looking to automate common changes based on specific criteria that you determine, then Automated Rules are the feature for you. With Automated Rules, you can automate frequently completed tasks, such as scheduling ads for specific promotions or events, pause low-performing ads or keywords, change keyword bids to control your average position, adjust budgets or scheduling budgets for certain days of the week, And finally, you can raise keyword bids to ensure ads show on the first page. We'll be covering many of these tactics today now with Advertiser Bob. Now, many of you may be asking, who is this Advertiser Bob? Advertiser Bob is a fictitious client we've created to help today with the examples we'll be walking through using Adwords Editor and automated rules. Here's a little bit of background on Bob. Bob manages a chain of retail stores in California and Florida, and with spring break and summer vacation around the corner, he's getting ready to launch a number of big promotions for beach gear, including beach balls and beach towels. Since vacations start at different times on the East Coast and the West Coast, he needs to run his campaigns at different times. Bob has very specific performance goals. He knows his ads perform best when they're in the top position, and he needs to achieve a 5% conversion rate to meet his ROI goals. So what does Bob need to do to prepare for this upcoming promotion? He needs to set up campaigns with unique geographic targeting. He needs to create tightly targeted ad groups with very specific keywords for beach balls and beach towels. He would like to edit his keyword match types to make sure he can capture traffic from customers who are both just starting their searches, as well as those who know exactly what they're looking for. He needs to schedule these campaigns for the different launch dates, adjust his bids to the recommended top-of-page bid, and make sure his ads aren't running if he's not hitting his conversion goals. The first 5 steps here will be accomplished using Adwords Editor. The latter steps will be accomplished with automated rules. And for scheduling, you can accomplish that using either Adwords Editor or automated rules. And through the demos, we will actually cover the differences in the scheduling options for each of these features. Just as an FYI, all of the examples and data points were created specifically for this demonstration, and so should not be taken as specific recommendations. And now I'm going to hand the floor over to Steve, who's going to show us how Bob can create large targeted campaigns at scale using Adwords Editor.
Great. Thanks, Katie. And hi, everyone. I'm going to walk you through how to use Adwords Editor to make bulk changes and quick manipulations to your account. So we're going to continue with the example of Advertiser Bob and his chain of retail stores in Florida and California. And we're going to go through a couple campaign and ad group builds from his perspective. We're not going to cover all the features of Adwords Editor, but we will hit on some of the big ones. And just in general, I'd like you to I would encourage you to use it to manage your campaigns more effectively and try to discover some of the features that we won't have time to go through today. Okay, so the first step is to install Adwords Editor and open the account. So I'm just going to go to File, Open Account. The dialog opens up, and I'm going to click Add Account since I have not logged into my account using Adwords Editor yet. And then I'm going to input my login credential and download my campaigns. So most of you have probably already done that, and we will dive into some of the more advanced things you can do. So the first thing we're going to do is expand upon our current campaign, which is a California targeted campaign that features beach ball related terms. We're going to add a couple new ad groups to this, one by copying the existing ad group and tweaking it, and then later we'll also do one from scratch. So let's start with the ad group that we'll create by copying. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is select the relevant campaign in the left-hand panel. Then we're going to click the Ad Groups tab so that we'll see the list of all the ad groups that are in this campaign. Okay, and then I'm going to select the ad group that I want to copy. In this case, it's the Beach Balls ad group. And I'm going to right-click on it and hit copy, and then right-click on it again and hit paste. And for those of you who prefer to use keyboard shortcuts, you can use them in editor as well. So standard Control-C and Control-V can save you a little bit of time here. Or if you're on a Mac, it would be Command-C, Command-V. Okay, so once we paste, you can see that the new ad group has been created, and it's worth noting that this ad group is completely identical to the ad group that it was copied from. So all the keywords, ads, bids, all of that stuff is going to be copied over. And as you can see, that actually does cause an error because the ad group even has the same name copied over, and within one campaign, each ad group must have a unique name. So I'm going to go ahead and change the name to Beach Towels, and then you can see that the error goes away. And then before you leave the Ad Groups tab, this would also be the time that you'd want to adjust any bids. So if you want to use a different Mac CPC bid or a display network bid, this would be the time to do it. In this example, I'm not going to do it, but this would be the time. Okay, and now what we need to do is adjust the keywords and ad copy so that they are targeting beach towel terms rather than beach ball terms. Okay, so we're going to go to the Keywords tab, and we're going to replace the word balls with towels. And so to do that, the first step is to select all of the keywords. And the fastest way to do this is just to click on one row in the table and hit Control-A. And what that does is select all of the keywords. Then once you've selected all of them, click on Replace Text in the bottom left corner. You can also just right-click on the keyword, and then in the right-click menu, you can click Find and Replace. Okay, and then this dialog pops up, and we're going to replace the word balls with towels. So you can see in this example that there's some keywords like beach ball, the singular version, and some like beach balls, which is the plural version. And this find and replace actually does replace partial words. So if I were to replace the singular version, ball, with the singular word towel, if I was going to make that replacement, it would also change the plural version. So beach balls would become beach towels as well. So once we click the Find Matches, this other prompt will come up, and it will tell us how many occurrences will be replaced. We click on Replace All, and that will complete that. And so now that we've changed the keywords, the next step would be to go to the ads and make any changes that we need to make here. And we're going to do kind of a bulk replace here, just as we did on the keywords. So it's actually a very similar process. The first thing to do is select all the ads, which is Control-A, just as we did with the keywords. Then click Replace Text in the bottom left. And the dialog pops up, which is quite similar. And we're going to do the same thing where we just replace the word balls with the word towels. And then one of the key differences between this dialog for ads, ad copy, and for keywords is that there's a little drop down where it says that we're replacing the keywords within the all text and URL fields. And so basically, if the word balls is found anywhere in the display or destination URL, that's going to get replaced too. Okay, and so that's something to be mindful of. In this case, we want to change it because we want to make the destination URL reflect the beach towel change. But there is also a setting that will only replace in the headline and description lines. So depending on what you want to do, you might want to use that setting in the drop-down instead. Okay. Then once we click on Find Matches, we get the same confirmation dialog letting us know how many occurrences were found, and we can replace all of them. And that's it. So we just created a whole new ad group just by copying. As you can see, it can be quite a bit quicker than creating them from scratch. But now what we're going to do is go through actually creating one from scratch using some other features that AdWords Editor offers. Okay, so we're going to go to the Ad Groups tab and then click on the Add Ad Group button. And then that will create a new ad group, and we'll fill out the information. We'll give it a name, inflatable balls, and a default bid. And this is really selling the same product as the beach balls ad group, but since it's a different kind of term, we want to keep it in a separate ad group. That way we can see if the performance varies for people searching on this term versus users searching on beach balls terms. Okay. So as you can see, as soon as we create this new empty ad group, we get two warnings, one that says there are no active ads and one that says there are no active keywords. So what we need to do is go in and add ads and keywords to this ad group. Okay, so first we'll go to the Keywords tab, and we'll click on the Add Keyword button. And I'm going to enter in the keyword as buy inflatable ball. So I could actually just add all of the keywords one at a time by using this method, but it's not the most efficient way to do it, especially if you have 10 or 100 keywords. And so we're going to go through a slightly faster way, which is the Make Multiple Changes button. So if I click on this button, a text box will pop up. And as you can see, I can either type or paste keywords here, one per line. And so if you do any kind of keyword editing in Microsoft Excel or any other editor, this is definitely the way you want to get them into Editor. It's probably worth noting as well that you can also include bid information, match types, as well as some other data as well by separating them with a comma within one row. And if you do choose to try to include that information, the first row of the text box needs to be a header just explaining which field comes in which order. Great. So creating ads is pretty basic, so we're not going to go through all the details of just typing up a text ad, but the keywords are covered. And so what we're going to do actually now is move on to creating a new campaign. And what we're going to do is kind of create a mirror campaign to our California Beach Balls campaign, and we're going to change it so that it's targeting Florida, because we want to be able to customize all of our settings to the different markets. So not only just where the ads are served, but maybe what ad copy we're doing, bidding, and scheduling as well. So the first thing to do, as before, is to select the campaign we want to copy in the left panel. And then we're going to copy it and paste. And then the duplicate campaign appears. And it's worth mentioning here that the duplicate campaign has all the settings copied over, just like with the ad group. So all of the ad groups within the campaign will be copied, the keywords, the ad text, as well as all the different settings. And as you can see, the name is also copied over. And just as with ad groups within a campaign, each campaign must have a unique name. So we're going to rename this to the Florida. Okay, and then we are going to want to probably change our scheduling since the vacation season is different in Florida and California. But we're going to hold off on that for now and actually fix the location targeting first, since that's going to be the major differentiator of the campaigns. Okay, so in the location targeting section, we're going to click on the Edit link. And then this dialog pops up where we can choose exactly where we want to serve our ads. And so I'm going to choose Florida instead of California for this campaign. Great. So now that we've completed the location targeting, let's go back and fix the scheduling for both campaigns. So we want our California campaign to run for the month of April based on the research we've done into the beach market there. And so what I'm going to do is select April 1st as the start date and April 30th as the end date in the start and end date boxes. And then for the Florida campaign, I'm going to do the same, except we want to run it from April 15th to May 15th, since the vacation season starts later in Florida. And so I'm going to schedule that right there as well. And that's it. So our campaigns are set up and ready to go. Once we post the changes to AdWords, everything will be live, and our campaigns will start on the dates that we specified. Let's go back and look at some other things that we can do before we actually post. So one common thing that we see a lot is changing match types in bulk. So if you've got hundreds of keywords, you can actually go through and change the match types for all of them at once. And so generally it's easy. You just select all the keywords and use the match type dropdown to adjust which match type you want it to be. And in this case, we're going to go through a kind of a special case, which is opening up your match type from phrase match to broad match modifier. So for those who are not familiar with broad match modifier, it's kind of a newer match type that's in between broad match and phrase match, and it typically will increase traffic from phrase match keywords by allowing the keywords to expand into different word orderings as well as misspellings and plurals. And the way it's specified is you put a keyword into broad match, and then you put a plus sign in front of each word that you want to definitely be part of the user's query. So just as an example of that, if we have plus beach plus balls as a broad keyword, that would be a broad match modifier keyword, and it would not be able to ever be matched to soccer balls because the word beach is not in that user's query. Okay, so how do we move these keywords from phrase match to broad match modifier? First, we're going to select all the keywords, just as before, and then click on the replace text link at the bottom. And our familiar dialog will pop up here. What we're going to do is put a space in the find box, and then a space and a plus sign in the replace with box. And so effectively what we're doing is we're replacing all the spaces in the keyword text with a space and a plus sign after the space. And so as you can see, what that did is it added a plus before each of the words, except for the first word in each query. And now we're probably going to want to also add the plus sign to the first word in each query, just so we can keep our targeting tight. And luckily for us, there is an easy way to do that as well. So what we're going to do is with all the keywords highlighted, click on the append text button at the bottom. And then we're going to put a plus sign in the add box. And we're going to click on append before existing text so that the plus sign becomes the first character in each keyword. And you may see you can also append text after your keywords in case you have some other change you want to make. We won't do that here, but it's definitely useful to know. And that's it. So now our keywords are all in broad match modifier, and we won't get matched to soccer balls or any of those kind of terms, but we will get matched to beach ball terms, variants, and we won't lose any clicks due to misspelled queries or changing word orders or any of that kind of thing. Okay, and then one other thing that we wanted to show you here is actually doing optimizations within AdWords Editor. One of the really useful features is that you can download all of your performance data straight into the AdWords Editor interface. And so basically what this means is that you can navigate between your different campaigns and ad groups as well as the different tabs without having to wait for the interface to load data every time. So it allows faster optimization, and then you can just make all the adjustments you want and then post them live to AdWords at your convenience. So in order to get the data, first we click on the Data tab, and then we click on Statistics. And you can either do selected campaigns and just pick which campaigns you want to download for, or download for the whole account at once. But if you're managing a big account, I'd recommend only downloading the relevant campaigns because it can take quite a while to download all of the campaigns. So once you click on that, the dialog pops up. We select which campaign we would like to download performance data for, and then you can also pick the date range that you want to look at as well. So here you can see all my performance data has downloaded, and I can take a look at it and use it to adjust my bids and any other settings that are relevant. So in this example, I'm seeing that my average position is 5.2, which I think is a little bit on the low side, and I think I can get a few more clicks if I'm in a better position. So what I'm going to do here is raise my CPC bid on that keyword and see how it performs in a higher position. And you can do that right in line in the interface. And you can actually go keyword by keyword in your account and optimize all of your keywords, add text, add groups, and really the entire account this way and save a lot of time versus just using the front end. Okay, so let's check back in on Bob's progress through his objectives here. We started with the California campaign and just one beach balls ad group. Okay, and then we added 2 ad groups, creating one from scratch and one by copying an ad group and then making adjustments. We created our Florida campaign by quickly duplicating our California campaign and adjusting the settings. We opened up match type to maximize traffic. And then we scheduled campaigns according to our marketing plan for California and for Florida. But we still have to figure out how to automate tactical campaign changes. And for that, I'll turn it over to Drew to talk about automated rules.
Thanks, Steve. Next up, I'll show you how Advertiser Bob can use automated rules to save him time on daily account management tasks. To get started with automated rules, you'll want to log into the web interface for Adwords in your browser and just go to your campaign, ad group, or keyword tab and click on the button that says Automate. Advertiser Bob has seen great performance in the top highlighted ad position, so he wants to use top-of-page bids. In case you don't know already, top-of-page bids provides guidance to give you an idea of the level of bids required to show in the top position. Please keep in mind that using these bids doesn't guarantee that your ads will show in the top position. To create a rule for this, he needs to click on the Create Rule for Keywords, and then select Raise Bids to Top-of-Page Bids When. Then you'll see the rule setup page. On this page, you'll be able to configure the affected campaigns, ad groups, and keywords, specify the timing that you want, and also set parameters for the rules to take effect. After you make your selections, we also recommend choosing a descriptive name for the rule for later reference. When you're done, you'll want to click on the Preview button to confirm that your rule behaves the way you'd like and takes the right effect on the keywords that you prefer. If everything looks good at this point, go ahead and save the rule. As a conversion-focused advertiser, Bob has decided to test different ads and pause those that aren't converting well. To do this, he can set up an automated rule. Once again, he'll click on Automate. This time, he'll select Create Rule for Ads and select Pause Ads When. When he gets to the Setup page, he'll want to go to the Requirements section and set up a condition for the conversion rate. Since Advertiser Bob needs a conversion rate of at least 5% to hit his ROI goals, he'll select Conversion Rate, set it to less than, and type in 5%. Under the frequency section, you can select the time frame automated rules uses to determine the ads that meet this criteria. Keep in mind that you can also use a similar rule if you instead want to manage ads or keywords based on other metrics, such as click-through rate. For our last example, we show here how Bob can schedule his campaigns using automated rules. Simply go to the Campaign tab, click on Automate again, and then select Enable Campaigns When. What's unique with automated rules here is that you can also enable and pause ad groups and keywords and individual ads as well. From the setup screen, simply select the start and end dates you want to use. Both of these fields are optional. You'll want to repeat this exercise for all the campaigns, ad groups, ads, and keywords you want to schedule. Now that Advertiser Bob has set up his automated rules, he's finished with the tasks for today. Keep in mind that these are just a few of the ways that you can use automated rules. For more examples, please visit the Common Ways to Use Automated Rules article in the Adwords Help Center. You'll find this link in the resources. Next up, Katie will recap.
Hi, everyone. We hope you enjoyed today's demo. Before we move on to the Q&A, I just wanted to recap the 3 things that we hope you think about when you leave today's presentation. First, a little rhyme to help you remember the benefits of AdWords Editor. Copy, paste, find, replace. Simple steps to building out campaigns, ad groups, keywords, and ads using AdWords Editor. Second, do you have specific goals to achieve but don't want to be tied to your computer, making these incremental adjustments to achieve them? Let automated rules do the heavy lifting for you. Finally, whether it's a simple start and end date or more custom promotion launches, there's a way to schedule them without needing calendar alerts. And before we step into the Q&A, just a couple of final housekeeping reminders to wrap up the event. First, we want to thank you all very much for attending today's webinar. We hope it was informative for you. As we transition to the Q&A portion, you'll see that a short survey is going to pop up in a new window for you. If it doesn't, you can click on the red survey widget at the bottom of the console to take it. If you don't mind spending a minute filling that out, we'd really appreciate it. The answers will give us some useful feedback to improve our experience for future webinars. And with that, we're going to jump in and answer a couple of the common questions that have come up during today's presentation. So the first is, I do know some of you did give some feedback about the size of the demos, and we really appreciate that. One thing to know is that both the recording of this will be available at the end. In addition, we will have a PDF available. So if you weren't able to see the images very clearly but would like to reference them in the future, you will be able to do so. The second question that we did get from a number of people is, this interface looks a little different than AdWords. And if you joined the webinar a little bit late, the demos were actually from AdWords Editor, which is a separate tool that you download. And if you go to google.com/AdWords Editor, you can actually download this software to use. And then another question that came in as we were presenting was a question about, well, if I'm actually duplicating things, am I going to be losing my the history associated with those ads and keywords? And I think that's an excellent question, and I'm really glad that people asked it. Because you're not actually changing existing ads, you're just copying and pasting over and then making modifications. Those actually become new ads and keywords without losing the history of the old ones. So again, we really do appreciate you asking that. And now let's take a look at some of the other questions that came in. I know a couple had to do with the broad match modifier. So what I'm actually going to do is pass it back over quickly to Steve, who can answer those questions for you.
Yep. Hello again, everyone. Just to clarify how the broad match modifier works, so what you do is you put a plus sign before each word in your keyword. And there shouldn't be any spaces or anything between the plus sign and the word itself. So in the beach balls example, to move that to broad match modifier, you would do plus sign, B-E-A-C-H, space, plus sign, B-A-L-L-S. And that would mean that your ad would only show on queries that contain both the word beach and the word balls, or close variants of those words. So I hope that answers the questions. Let me know if there's any other questions about broad match modifier.
Great. Thank you so much, Steve. Really appreciate that. One question that just came in is AdWords Editor linked to your AdWords account? And again, that's a great question. So it's not linked to your AdWords account. It is a separate software program that exists offline. And so what you do when you download AdWords Editor is you import accounts, And so you can do it by entering the external customer ID number of the AdWords account or actually using your AdWords login credentials. And then you would import that information into AdWords Editor, and then you would make all of the changes, and then you would export it back out into your AdWords account. So the changes don't happen automatically. You do need to go through the steps of reviewing the changes that you've made and then choosing to upload them back into your AdWords account. Another question came in, is there a webinar specifically for automated rules? Also a great question, and we don't have one planned at this time, but if there's interest in it, we'll definitely keep that in mind as we're planning out future webinars. So thank you. And in the interim, we definitely encourage you to refer to the Automated Rules Help Center, which should be a link to that Help Center should be available in the resources gadget that you're seeing in the webinar interface. I also saw that we do have a number of questions that have come in about automated rules, so I'm going to pass the mic back over to Drew, who will be able to answer some of those for you.
Thanks, Katie. Let me take a look here. If you're looking for other examples of how to use automated rules, I'm about to push a link that you can go to see some more walkthroughs there. You should be able to see a link on your screen now that you can click through to see this Help Center article which walks you through other use cases. Let me take a look here at other questions about automated rules. Let's see. How long does an ad have to run for the automated rules to take effect? For example, the greater than 5% conversion rate example. Depending on what your settings are, generally the automated rules run once a day at a specific time. So you can set it for, say, each day at 9 p.m. Pacific time. Can I create a rule so that one ad in a specific ad group will start on a select date and another ad in the same ad group will be paused on that date? Yes, you can actually set rules for specific ads, and so you can do that with separate rules. With setting a rule to pause campaigns that have less than 5% conversion rate and having the rule checked daily, won't that pause campaigns that have had not enough impressions to reach a target? I would actually suggest for specific questions about which ad groups, keywords, and campaigns are affected to use the preview option, and that will be able to show you which specific items will be affected. I did see a number of questions about where to get AdWords Editor. So you'll want to go to, you can actually just do a Google search saying download AdWords Editor and you'll get the first link. That'll take you to the download page. It's available for both Windows computers as well as Macs. Question here. Is there a way to pause an ad when an entire account reaches a target dollar amount and not just individual campaigns? Currently, automated rules only work at up to the campaign level, so we don't have a rule for that at this point, but we'll definitely consider that for some of our future product enhancements.
Great. Thank you so much, Drew. Really appreciate you answering all of those questions. Quick one just came in. The name of the Broad Match Plus, that was Broad Match Modifier. I did see a number of questions that came in specifically about YouTube and mobile. I think that those are excellent questions, and what we're going to do is get back to those specific, we'll check in with those specific product teams and get answers back to you. Where our specific area of expertise is AdWords Editor and automated rules. So for some of those specific questions, we will be sure to get answers to those particular individuals. I did see someone say that the link was blocked by the pop-up blocker. Just as an FYI, some of the things will be pop-ups. So we do encourage you to disable any pop-up blockers so that you have full viewing functionality. If this does have to do with seeing the short survey, if the link hasn't popped up, you can click on the red survey widget at the bottom of the console and you'll still be able to get the survey. See lots of enthusiasm on training for automated rules, so we'll definitely take that feedback back and really appreciate it. Let's see, there was a question that came in a little bit earlier about whether or not you can easily copy and paste keywords from one campaign to another. And you absolutely can. It's a similar technique to what Steve highlighted in terms of duplicating the ad groups and the campaigns. All you need to do is right-click or use Control-C after you've selected the keywords of interest, and then you can go ahead and paste them into other campaigns. Let's see what other questions are coming in. When a campaign is duplicated, do negative keywords also get copied? The answer is yes. When you copy and paste a campaign, all of the settings associated with that campaign are copied over. And what you'll do is if there are any settings that do need to be changed because they're in conflict with another campaign, you'll get error messages letting you know about the duplications. Other questions that have come in. I have another one here, Drew, for is it possible to define automated rules related to impression share? So I'm going to pass this back over for Drew to answer.
Hi, so the question was about setting automated rules related to impression share. And actually, you should be able to see all the requirements in the drop-down tabs for requirements as you set up the page. I don't believe at this time we do have that available, but we are constantly adding new conditions that you can use for your rules.
Okay, a couple of questions have come in about different training resources, specifically for Adwords Editor this time. Again, I strongly encourage everybody to access the Help Center resources that are linked in the resources gadget. In addition, if there is interest in a much deeper dive into the features of Adwords Editor, again, we can take that as feedback as we plan out additional trainings. Great question about editor availability for tablets. We'll be sure to bring that feedback to the product manager who's planning out the product roadmap for us. Does Adwords Editor allow any tracking of other activities? Adwords Editor is an offline program, and so nothing happens unless you import accounts into Adwords Editor, make changes, and then choose to export them back into your Adwords account. So if you do not upload, if you do not export, none of the changes you've made in Editor will be reflected in your Adwords account. In terms of the presentation slides, those will be available at the end of the session. So they're not yet available. We're really excited about the enthusiasm for getting follow-up materials, but those will be available once the full session is complete. How do you update your version of Adwords Editor? That's a great question. Normally, if an update is available, when you go ahead and open it again, it will let you know and it'll prompt you to update. The other thing that you can do, I'm going in here right now and taking a look, is let me go ahead and take a look in the Help Center and I'll tell you the exact instructions for you to be able to do that. And I'll make sure that that information gets out. But normally if a new version is available, whenever you open up Adwords Editor, it'll prompt you and let you know that the version's available, and then you can choose whether or not you want to open it. Okay. And then a question came in. This is a little more tactical. When a campaign is duplicated, you have to wait for approval again if changes are made. And yes, once you upload that back into AdWords and it is a live campaign, it will need to go through the same type of approval process as any of the campaigns that you have created, whether you can create them originally in AdWords Editor or if you create them in your AdWords account. Okay, scrolling through the questions to see if any others came in. So the question came in, is there a way to add in multiple clients? So the answer is yes, you can open multiple clients on a one-on-one basis. So it's not a one-to-one relationship. It's not as if if you have permission to access multiple accounts in AdWords, you then can log in and actually upload different accounts into AdWords Editor. But when you're in AdWords Editor working, you'll be only working on one account at a time. But yes, you can actually, at different points in time, edit different clients using AdWords Editor. How long has Editor been available? This product has been available now for, I think, close to 6 years. Thanks for asking. Does AdWords Editor work with visual ads or just text ads? And the answer to that is yes, it works with different ad formats. Question, where do you check performance statistics in the offline editor? So what you would do to see your statistics is you would go to the Data tab, which is in the, you'll see there's a data link at the top of the tool. And when you open up that drop-down, you'll see statistics is at the very bottom. And what you can do is you can either download the whole account, which is slower, especially if it's a large account, or what you can do is select specific campaigns and ad groups. That will open up a dialog box, and then you can select from a set of date ranges, or you can customize the date range. And then you'll see that you can do it for specific ad groups or for campaigns, again, or for the whole account. And then once you download that, anytime you go into one of the tabs to view keywords, placements, audiences, whatever the case may be, you'll see headers and then columns with all of the data available. So it'll look somewhat similar to the way that data appears when you're looking at it in your AdWords account. Can you do keyword research in Editor? At this time, the keyword tool is not part of AdWords Editor. And so what we would recommend if you're doing large changes, I know we didn't demo this, but it is something that's available. You can make changes using some sort of spreadsheet or bulk sheet, whether it's Excel or using Google Spreadsheets, and then you can copy and paste that. So if you do have to do large volumes of changes, that may be a good option for you. And that's actually another question that came in is, can we edit the bids on a bulk level using AdWords Editor? Similar to the way that you can make bulk changes to keywords and ads, using various functions within AdWords Editor, you can also edit your bids on a bulk basis. Can AdWords Editor be shared between multiple users at once and not go out of sync? The answer to that is no. Each person will need to download AdWords Editor onto their desktop or their laptop. If two people are making changes to the same account and then sync those changes could potentially be in conflict with one another because it is going from offline changes to online changes. Okay, let's see if there are any other questions. I know we have a couple minutes left. did have a couple more automated rules questions. One is, when will we be able to use automated rules for budgeting on ad groups? And then another one is a question, an account level automated rules question. So for those two questions, I'm going to pass it back over to Drew.
Thanks. For the question regarding daily budget rules for ad groups, we'll definitely consider adding that to our roadmap. One of the issues right now is obviously that ad groups don't have their own individual budgets, so it's difficult to manage from that level. So we do recommend using campaign level automated rules and just using the data from various ad groups to have it trigger. As for questions about account level changes for automated rules, currently the highest level that you can set rules is campaigns, but we are considering making it possible to look at account level data as well, especially budgets.
Thanks again, Drew. Great question came in. Are there features that AdWords Editor has that the online version does not have? I think AdWords Editor has the benefit of being able to make changes in bulk in ways that the online version does not. So one of the things that we had discussed was that you can work in a spreadsheet or in a doc or in a notepad, and you can set up all of your changes, and then you can copy and paste them into the field in the add multiple ads or add multiple keywords. And that is one of the benefits for large advertisers and agencies of working in AdWords Editor versus working in the online version. But AdWords Editor, one of the things that we've heard over the years is that things like data and so forth are incredibly important to people to make changes. So those are enhancements that we've actually made over time to bring some parity between the online interface and the offline version. But again, one of the reasons that we would encourage you to consider using AdWords Editor is that it has the benefit of being able to make bulk changes much more efficiently than you can currently do. A great point of feedback here: is there anything that visually shows the layout of an account similar to the slide near the end of the presentation? At this time, it's not something that we have available, but again, I think it's great feedback, really appreciate it, and we can bring that to the AdWords web interface team. So thank you. Great, a funny question here. The client has a max CPC higher than the daily budget. Again, for the purpose of this presentation, this was a fictitious client, and we definitely encourage you not to use any of the metrics highlighted here as examples. These are, again, the goal of this presentation was to show you some of the specific ways that you could build out AdWords and campaigns and optimize and set rules. So we definitely want to emphasize again that none of the bids and budget numbers are numbers that we would recommend or encourage you to implement. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Steve, who has some additional information to share.
Just wanted to go through a couple more questions that came through here. Somebody asked, are there any features that AdWords Editor has that the online version does not have? It's a great question. There are some. There's typically a little bit of a lag between new features in the AdWords front end and what's available in Editor. So, for instance, some of the ad extensions are not yet available, like a product extension, but like site links are. And so it's always evolving and more stuff is being added constantly. And then one other question I wanted to make sure to address is, can we edit the bids on a bulk level using Editor? Yes. So if you select multiple keywords, you can just adjust the bid in the box at the bottom of the page, and that will adjust the bid for all of the keywords at once. And the same would apply for ad groups or anything else.
Great. Looks like we just had some people join saying they can't see the presentation but can hear the audio. Thanks for joining. We actually have wrapped up the presentation, so for anybody who joined late, we are in the Q&A portion of the webinar. But for everybody who joined, at the end, we will share a recording as well as a PDF version of the presentation. Okay. Let's see. Looks like we have another automated rules question. Is there a way to automate a single campaign so it begins on a specific day, pauses when a defined dollar amount is met, and restarts on the same day of the following month? I'm going to pass it over to Drew now to answer it.
Thanks, Katie. So it looks like there's 3 different things going on here. It looks like they want to start on a specific day, pause when it hits a dollar amount, and restarts on the same day the following month. So the best way to do this is actually to set up 3 separate rules, all affecting the same campaign. So in general, we do recommend that each distinct behavior that you want your campaigns or ad groups to take is a separate rule. We did recently raise the limit of rules to 100, so that should give you the flexibility to do all kinds of sophisticated campaign management.
Had a question come in about using different tools other than Google tools, and I think that's a great question. We do get it a lot here on both the marketing and sales side of the organization. I think that it's important for every company to weigh the pros and cons of the tools available from Google versus others, as well as the type of investment that they can make. What I would say is that if you ever find that there are changes that you would like to make and you find that you're limited in solving those specific business challenges with Google products, we always encourage you to share that feedback with us, either through online feedback forms, if you have a sales rep through your sales team, because we definitely take very seriously all of the feedback that we hear from our clients and want to make sure that if you're advertising with Google, that we're offering product solutions that help you meet those business goals. But there is a question here about ways to build large campaigns that repeat ads, keywords, and so forth for different countries. And so I think we do hope that, especially as you get into the more advanced features of the AdWords editor, that there would be ways to do this, especially using some of the bulk uploading tools. To get more advanced, and that's kind of beyond this webinar, there are tools such as the AdWords API that do enable you to build programs that also enable you to automate on a much larger scale. Again, we have information about that. If you go to developers.google.com, you can find resources on the AdWords API. But for the purpose of this presentation, you definitely can make those type of changes with this tool. And I think that we're coming up on time, so maybe we'll take, if anybody has any last-minute questions, feel free to chat them in now. Otherwise, we are going to wrap up today's session. Okay, I think that we have one last question on rules. That'll be the last one that we'll answer, and then I think we're going to wrap up today's session. So you'll get to hear from Drew one more time.
Okay, I believe I received a question about setting up rules on conversion rates based on clicks. So we don't actually have specific guidance on the number of clicks required for it to reach statistical significance. We do recommend that if you're doing that kind of stats analysis, to perform it on your own data and then decide on the appropriate rules to set in your account.
Okay, thanks everyone. That concludes today's session. If you haven't had a chance to complete the survey, please be sure to do so. And again, you'll be getting all of the follow-up materials from today's event. We We really appreciate you joining us. We really appreciate all of the questions and feedback, and we hope you have a wonderful day. So thank you very much for your time.